Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Facebook Live. We're trying it again because this is going to be another one of our very, very special evenings. As you are aware, there's nothing in the Bible relating to the fact that Jesus was a very happily married man during his lifetime. So tonight we are going to be very much honored by having the presence of his wife. Her name is Toba. We have channeled with her multiple times before, and she is actually going ahead and contributed to a whole chapter about their married life that will be in my book that comes out in May. We have already contacted her. We know that she's with us, and we are looking forward to her message, and when we're done, we will be asking her questions, which she will answer for us. Now, you will notice something a little different tonight. You will notice that there's no channeling board. So that means the responsibility for all this is going to come from what I'm hearing in my head. She will be actually speaking through me, and we will be bringing her a message. So with that little bit of a lead-in, why don't we get started? And is it possible to have the spirit presence of Toba, the wife of Jesus? Good evening. I want all of you to know how happy and pleased I am to have this opportunity to speak to you. As Barry has said, I was married to Jesus when he walked the earth. He and I lived a wonderful, normal life together. We were together for over 7 years, and during that time had 5 children. I know that there are many of you out there that doubt that Barry is truly speaking my words. Rest assured that he is. My husband, Jesus, is also here with us tonight. He has already talked to Barry and Connie before the show, and he is here to support me. I want you to know that even though you have never heard of me before, I have assisted my husband in blessing and watching out for all of you. You have been told before that there are members of this group that have walked the earth when I and my husband were there. Some of you have been sent back to help carry forward our words, and I assist in watching over those of you that have been assigned this important task. Tonight I want to speak of the love of our God. He loves each and every one of you, and in your hearts you must return that love. When my husband walked the earth, he taught of love. His message was very simple. He spoke that if you hold love for others in your heart and treat them as you want to be treated, then evil will be defeated. No one wants to have evil perpetrated upon them. So, if love is in your heart, your way is clear. Today, there is much evil in the world, and you must all band together in order to defeat it. When my husband and I walked the earth, there was also much evil, but it was of a different nature. My husband was dedicated to teaching others to follow the one God. Today, many people say that they do follow God, but they do not love him in their hearts. For that they will pay when they return home and face my husband's judgment. Tonight, I want all of you to focus on loving God. I want you to hold your families close to you. I want you to be good to one another, and I want you to love one another. It is a time when you must get past the hatred that you hear on your news broadcasts and social media. We watch all this from over here. We hate to hear the evil that is being spoken to all of you. Simply remember that love is the most important thing in your life. If you love God, if you love me, if you love your neighbors, your family, and all that are with you, then that love will be returned. If you show hatred and anger, then that form of evil will be passed on to others. When I walked the earth, I loved my husband with all my heart. I loved my children. And I tried to love all of those around me. As I said, it was a very difficult time, and losing my husband like that was terrible. Today, I want to bring you this message. And with those words, I am now ready to answer the questions that you have prepared for me.
Okay. Why is there no mention in the Bible that Jesus was married?
We were afraid that if any of the disciples or followers were told that Jesus was married, the word would get out to the Romans, and they would hunt us down and kill us as they murdered my husband.
In what religion were you raised?
My family was Jewish, and I was raised in that religion.
Okay. What town were you raised?
I was raised in a small town near Nazareth.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had 2 brothers and 1 sister.
How did you meet Jesus?
I was introduced to Jesus by my father. My father knew many people and had some wealth. Jesus was a fisherman at that time and was help supplying food for my family.
How old were you when you met Jesus?
I was 14 years old. Remember that in those days we married early.
Yeah. What were your thoughts when you first met him?
Well, first I thought he was very handsome. And when he spoke, I just melted. I could tell that this man was very, very special from the start. I felt his love, and I returned his love.
Did you know who he was before you married him?
No, I had no idea. I just thought that he was a very, very good man and would make a good husband.
I believe you were correct. What was the occupation of your father?
My father had properties. and basically owning those properties kept him busy.
What did your father think of Jesus?
My father was very impressed with him. He was a very good fisherman and was kind to all.
How old was Jesus when you married him?
He was around 20 years old.
Did his parents attend the wedding?
Absolutely. He was very close to his family.
How was your relationship with Mary and Joseph?
They were wonderful people. My father and I, and my mother, loved being with them. Mary had a wonderful personality, as did Joseph. Mary was very positive and was always laughing. She was an incredible person, and her influence was very important with raising our children.
In what town did you raise your family?
A small town near Nazareth.
How long were you married?
Sadly, we were only married for around 7 years.
How many children did you and Jesus have?
We had 5 children.
Could you name the children for us?
Our firstborn was our only daughter named Sarah. Then there was Ezekiel and Joshua and Seth and Luke. Luke was the youngest of the children.
Were the children raised Jewish?
No. My husband always taught of the one God. So we raised our children understanding that there was only one God in our universe.
What was Jesus like with the children?
He was an incredible parent. He would play with them and hold them. He loved to just sit there and tell them stories. He would speak of life in heaven, and he would tell them that when their days on earth were finished, that their life journey would continue.
Can you describe your children?
Sarah was the daughter, was our only daughter, and sadly she was never very healthy. She passed at around 20 of your years. It was a very, very sad event for me. Fortunately, my husband was on the other side at the time, and he made her transition very easy. My oldest son, name was Ezekiel. He was always very energetic and a lot like my husband. Joshua was our middle child. He had a wonderful personality, was always laughing, a lot like his grandmother. Seth was the serious one. He always took things to heart. He was the worrier in the family. He was a wonderful child, and he grew up to raise a wonderful family on his own. Luke was the youngest of my children. I have a special place in my heart for you and Luke. Luke raised a wonderful family as well.
Did any of the children ever know that he was God?
No, he never told anyone that. He said that his words would be heard forever. and that his words would have influence on many people to come. But he never told them that he was God.
Did any of the children ever join his ministry?
No, they never joined his ministry because had they joined, we feared that the Romans would find out.
Yeah. Where did you and Jesus raise your family? I think that's a repeat.
No. We tried to move away from Nazareth so that our life, which was very simple, would not gain the attention of the Romans. Jesus knew what was ahead for him, and he knew that his family had to live in a more remote place to remain safe.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this one already, but did he ever show anger when the children misbehaved?
No, he was the most patient father.
Did your children raise their families worshiping one God?
Yes. We tried to explain to all of them that their father was very special and that they should continue to follow what he had taught us. Sadly, he was not around for that long a time with the kids, but I tried to tell them.
How did Jesus support his family?
Jesus was basically a fisherman. He was also a wonderful carpenter. He was very talented and could do anything that he put his mind to.
Did you know John the Baptist?
Yes, John was a good friend of our family, and we spent much time together.
What did John tell you about Jesus?
He told us that Jesus was special, and he told us that he told us that he held the key to the words that would allow us to gain access to heaven after we passed.
What did John tell you about Jesus?
He said that he was the Son of God. We didn't fully realize what he meant, and sometimes we thought that he wasn't serious.
Were you present when Jesus was baptized?
Yes, I was there, as was Sarah and Ezekiel. They shared the experience.
Did you understand the significance of his baptism?
No. John said that it was very, very important that he baptize my husband. I know that he agreed, but I never really understood the true significance of it.
Did you ever see him perform a miracle?
Yes, he performed a miracle on me. Of course, it is not written in the Bible because my presence is never noted in the Bible. There was a time that I passed out and was on the ground, and I was very close to passing. My husband performed a miracle and healed me. That was the first miracle that he ever performed.
What did he tell you when he left for his ministries?
He said that I would never see him again, that the Romans would kill him, that he needed to speak to the masses and tell them of the one God and the importance of love for one another. He said there would be a time that I would be joining him in his heaven.
Did you discuss that your marriage would be kept a secret?
Yes. He told me that it was very important that nothing would happen to me or the children. For that reason, I would not even speak his name to any others.
So when he left on his ministries, did you ever get to see him again?
No. Sadly, when he left was the last time that I laid eyes on him until I joined him in heaven.
Did you move on after he left for his ministries?
Yes, we tried to move further away from Nazareth. He said that it was important that I did everything that I could so that the Romans did not connect me with him.
How did you support the family after he left for his ministries?
My father helped support us. As I said earlier, he had properties. Without his support, it would have been very, very difficult.
Did you have help raising the children after his death?
Yes, Mary and Joseph were very, very important in helping me raise the children. They moved closer to us so that we would be several miles apart, and whenever I needed help, they were always there.
What was it like to be a single mother in those times?
It was terribly difficult. It was not like today. The only hope that you would have would be that your family would help you. Otherwise, you would have to do anything required to exist.
So did you have to work to help support the family?
No. Luckily, my father had sufficient funds that I was not forced to work.
That's good. How did you learn of Jesus' death?
After his death, he appeared to me. And that was how I knew. He told me that the Romans had killed him. And now he was on his way to take his place in heaven. He told me that when I passed, I would be with him again. He told me not to grieve, but that was impossible.
That's for sure. How did he appear to you after the resurrection?
He appeared as he did in life. I could see the wounds on his body, but he was just as he had appeared as when we got married. He was a very, very handsome man, and even though he had been tortured, he was still one of the most beautiful sights I'd ever seen.
Did Mary tell you the details of his death?
Yes, it was terrible. To hear her recount it was one of the most emotional moments in my life. Mary and Joseph were heartbroken. There were no words to describe the grief that she felt at what the Romans had done.
Did you ever meet any of the disciples or apostles in life?
No. My husband was very clear that we should not speak to any of the disciples or apostles. We always feared for the safety of the family.
How old were you when you passed?
I was 45 of your years when I went home.
Have you ever reincarnated since that lifetime?
No. That single lifetime with my husband was the only time that I have walked the earth.
Will you ever reincarnate again?
I would if my husband requested it. In the event that he chooses to return, he will not return in the form of Jesus. But it is entirely possible that I will be asked to return with him at some future time.
Could you describe heaven for us?
Heaven is the most wonderful of places. It is literally indescribable. When you want to be somewhere, you just think it and you are there. If you want to be with your family, you think about them and your family is with you. There is no requirement for food, and there is no evil over here. It is truly, truly a wonderful place.
Okay. What is your role in heaven?
I assist my husband in any way that I can. I help to watch over those of you that have been sent back. I try to influence others, and I attempt to guide others to speak of love and to have the love of God in your heart.
As you watch from heaven, what is your message for humans?
My message to humans is that you must have the love of God in your heart. You must have the love of others. You must share and you must help others. By helping and loving others, others will help and love you. As you pass on love, love will be passed on. Humans have been struggling with free will since God created them. Free will is what creates evil. And humans must overcome that, their egos and the evil that their free will brings upon them. Doing good is how you rise in the realms of heaven. The upper realms are far more desirable than the lower ones. And you will be judged, and if you live a life of love and helping others, you will progress in the realms of heaven.
Do you think there's more evil now or when you walked on the earth?
When we walked the earth, there was certainly much evil. At this time, there is also much evil. I do not think it is any worse now than when we were there. The Romans that worshipped pagan gods would protect their gods at all costs. And what they put the early Christians through was terrible. We would watch what was taking place from this side and we would cry to see the pain and suffering that was caused. Today there are certainly times that pain and suffering is brought upon others. For instance, at the time of the Holocaust, evil was probably as great as any time since man has walked the earth. Today, there is certainly much evil, but it is different. We are seeing much evil in your politicians. They have the ability to destroy your country. It is time that love becomes the most important thing in politics and your everyday lives.
For sure. Did you ever live any other lifetimes with our Lord before you walked the earth as Toba?
Of course. You humans have only been there for roughly 200,000 years. The soul energy of God has been around since the beginning. I have lifed with the energy of Jesus on many other planets at many other times. We have led other cultures to learn of the one God and to live in peace. Living in peace is a lesson that humans still have to learn.
Do you have a final message for our listeners?
I want to thank all of you for listening tonight. I want you to know that Barry and Connie's words are our words. We are able to speak through Barry. When you hear his words, they are our words. When he says that he speaks the words of Jesus, he truly does speak for him. There will be a time that it will become more evident that Barry and Connie have been sent back for this special mission. When that time comes, I hope that all of you will contribute in passing on our messages. Tonight has been a special treat. There's probably nothing more controversial than the fact that I was married to Jesus and that we lived a relatively normal life. Tonight, Jesus is here with me. He and I bless all of you God bless all of you, and until we speak to you again, good night.
Thank you, Toba.
Thank you, Toba. I hope all of you have enjoyed that. It was, needless to say, it was a very strong message, and I had no problem reading what they were saying. So with that message, and with her speaking as she did, we're going to say good night to you, and we will be back again in the future with more of these live videos.
God bless you all.
If you liked what you see, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.